Hey, good morning and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Very brief weather update. I'm over the moon. We're having a little heat wave in London. It's September and it's been like 30 degrees for yesterday and it's going to be the same today, possibly tomorrow. Fantastic weather. So I've picked possibly the worst fragrance for this kind of weather to review today. I'm looking at a gourmand. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? But I've got to do it. And it's very, very important that I get this review out. Now, my good friend, the Queen of Niche Fragrances, as she's known on Instagram, messaged me and said she's been sent some perfumes to review and showcase on her Instagram page, and she thought I would love them. So she very kindly knocked up 4 samples for me and sent them down, and she was spot on. These are absolutely amazing. So I really want to get this review out. Now, the plan was to do a quick review of each of, put a review out where I talk about all 4 of them. Now, that's not going to work because they're far too interesting for that, and we need to get into a bit of detail about these perfumes. I think they're absolutely outstanding. So if I was to try and do one video and review all 4, it would probably be an hour and a half long. So that's just way too long for a YouTube review. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give a little overview of the house, and then we're going to look briefly. I'll just tell you this, tell you the names of the 4 perfumes, and then we're going to look at one in particular today. And then over a period of time, I'll come back and look at do a full review of the others. Really, really interesting perfumes though, and they're from a guy called Sean Maher, and the company is Maher Olfactive. And the 4 perfumes. First one is called Santal Austère. There's another one called Nefertiti. There's one called Crystal Moon, and the one we're here to talk about today is called Treachery. Now, I'm wearing the perfume at the moment. I've basically done the school run. I've come out of the heat. So I'm at home now and I'm going to wear it and then probably have to change it later on this afternoon before I go back out, because I'm going to need to wear, well, obviously bergamot, because it's roasting. All right. So this is a new house effectively. I think it was launched in April of this year. So not the greatest time in the world to release a perfume or a collection. But Sean has, he has another series of perfumes for another of his own houses, which is called Chatillon Luxe. So there you go. Well, I've also got to mention that one of the Chatillon Luxe, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, is actually up for a big award at the moment, the Art and Olfactory. Well, it's the Art and Olfactory Award. Now, Sean's perfume, which I haven't smelt, is up against some real well-known houses, some really big perfumes and stuff like that. So, obviously he's an incredible perfumer and really, really knows what he's doing. And I actually have been really, really blown away by these perfumes. I messaged him direct, so we haven't actually spoke, but we have sort of exchanged some messages, because one of them, the one I'm not going to be talking about today, called Santal Austère, has one of the most realistic and certainly one of the best sandalwood notes I've ever smelt in perfumery. And I love sandalwood, and I have a lot. In fact, I've got a top 10 sandalwood video. So I was really, really blown away with that. But anyway, we'll save that for another day. Let's talk about Treachery. Now, Treachery is inspired by a painting by René Magritte, who was a Belgian sort of surrealist painter. And the painting, This Is Not a Pipe, is basically the inspiration for this perfume. Now, I've got to be very careful when I'm talking about art, because a good friend of mine who watches my videos is a curator, or archivist, should I say, at the Royal Academy of Art. So I know if I get anything wrong on that, I will get no end of grief. So I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But the painting, This Is Not a Pipe, is the inspiration for the perfume Treachery. And it's an interesting one too. Now, if we go through the notes, we'll talk about the materials used and a little bit about one of the materials in particular. So let's have a quick look at the notes. I am wearing the perfume, as I said. I'll spray a little bit more for the purposes of the review, and then we'll have a little chat about the perfume itself. So you've got a host of materials in this that are really, really interesting. We've got pipe tobacco, vanilla absolute, sweet almond, whiskey, saffron, cocoa berries, spices, Divana, more of that in a minute, and they all combine to make this really rather interesting gourmand. Now, when you spray it, and I will spray a little bit more now, so here's Treachery, and I'll put it on this hand actually, because there's something quite fun happens. If you are a aficionado of whiskey, this is for you. This has got possibly the most realistic whiskey note I've ever smelled, but it's an aged whiskey. You can almost taste it, you know. It brings not only the smell of whiskey, but it brings the barrel that the whiskey's been maturing in to the table. It's just absolutely outstanding. And this leads a charge. It's incredibly boozy. And when I say incredibly boozy, it's almost like you've just stuck your head in a whiskey barrel. Very, very potent as well. The whiskey just kind of screams out and fills the room. Now, everything else then plays catch up. So the whiskey, although it's very potent in the opening, it doesn't really disappear either. Not for a long, long time. And even when the perfume's in the dry down, I can still detect a little bit of that whiskey note. So you're going to need to be into it, basically, because it is a very whiskey-like perfume. You've got vanilla and vanilla absolute that's keeping everything together. There's sweet almond in this, and then when almond and vanilla come together, you're definitely going to get this gourmandy vibe. Someone described this, I think it may have even been the Queen Anise herself, as like a cherry bakewell, and I kind of get that. I know exactly where she's going with it. But it's a cherry bakewell that's been soaked in booze, and then what it is, if you've taken the cake after it's been cooked, soaked it in booze, and then put it back in the oven, all the heat would be, making all the alcohol sort of, just sort of dissipate and, become very airy. And if you then walked in the kitchen and smelt that, that's kind of what you're getting. The saffron is sweet, the cocoa berries, everything works well. I've said this before, this is a perfume that showcases its notes very, very well. It gives everything a little individual moment to shine, but it's always supported with the other notes. They all work very harmoniously together to give a very smooth blend. This smells incredibly niche. It's one of those perfumes where if you're into perfume, you're going to love it. If you're sort of just beginning your journey, you might find it a little bit too much, because there's a lot of safer options out there that do vanilla and pipe tobacco, or vanilla and tobacco together, that create these kind of sweet, lovely perfumes. This one is sweet, but because of the whiskey, it's a very boozy affair. So it's not a blind buy. It's not a safe one. It's very, very long lasting. The performance on this is excellent. It stays with you all day. With some volume as well, but the projection when you first spray it is huge. It does leave a lovely train. The sillage is good with this one, but for that first hour, the projection seems to me, certainly on my skin, it seems really, really huge. Now, what I do like about this is the clever use of this Divana. Now, it's a material that's been used in essential oils for a very, very long time. And what it does is something that's completely different to a lot of other materials. It does have a sort of a wine-like accord to it, or a wine-like smell to it. It's fruity. So, what's so interesting about that? Well, because there's lots of materials that you can use that will smell like wine or smell like berries. Divana is really, really clever. If you and I were to sit together with a bottle with Divana in it, open it up and smell it, we would both say, this smells the same. Now, to you and to me, we would roughly there or thereabouts, we would be smelling something and we would describe it, and we would be pretty much, in tune with what we're describing. It would smell the same. Now, what it's well known for is when you put it on skin, it changes massively and completely differently for everybody. So if I put it on my skin and you put it on your skin, it would smell different. So that does something to the perfume. Now, I don't know what quantity of it is in the perfume, but what it does is it makes it a difficult perfume to review, because if the Divana is there in enough quantity, this perfume is going to smell different on me and it's going to smell different on you. So not only is it a very unique tobacco-like fragrance, it's going to be unique to everybody else as well, which is a really interesting thing to do. So, if you and three buddies bought a bottle of this, and you all sprayed it, the chances are it's going to smell different on every single one of you. So, in that case, it's certainly one you're going to need to sample, because what I'm describing and what I'm enjoying today may be slightly different on your skin. So again, I'm just surmising on that one, because I don't know how much of this this Divana is in the perfume. But to me, it's such an interesting one, and I really, really, strongly recommend that you sample this one. Price-wise, it's a 50ml bottle, and I think it's going on the Sean's website for $140, which is about right for this. This is an incredibly complex, well-made, beautiful perfume, and I think you should definitely sample it. So, for the $140 for 50ml, I think is really, really well priced for the quality that you're actually getting. Presentation is very good. I can't show you a bottle because I don't have one, but Rich will try and get a picture of it up for you guys to have a look at. It's a bit of a star, this. I absolutely love it. And the thing is, if you've been watching my videos or you've seen, mine and Rich's channel over time, you'll know that I've got quite a lot of tobacco fragrances, and I talk about them quite a lot. And lots of different types of tobacco fragrances as well. And then when you kind of think of a boozy pipe tobacco with vanilla, you kind of think, well, yeah, I've got a couple like that. It's all been done before. This one is very, very different. As I've said, it is a gourmand. It does have a kind of a cakey vibe to it, but it's not overly sweet, which I really like. And I think sometimes when you're, putting booze into a sweet sort of gourmand, it kind of extenuates the sweetness, whereas the whiskey in this is not sweet. It just calms everything down. So not only is it boozy, the whiskey doesn't just bring booze and this aged woody barrel type smell to the proceedings. It just stops everything from being cloying. It stops everything from being oversweet because, it is a little cakey, but it's not cloying. It's really, really clever. I really recommend you try this. And what I'm going to do is, obviously, I've got a load of reviews to do, so I'm going to try and make sure that I review the other three as soon as I can so you can experience them. I think he does do sample sets, so I really strongly recommend that you order the sample set, especially if you like a boozy gourmand, because this is brilliant. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I just wanted to say again, thank you to the Queen of Niche for sending these samples. They've really, really rocked my world, and I'm really, really enjoying them. This is, sorry, before I finish, this is completely unisex. There's, this will smell amazing on a man. It will smell amazing on a woman. It's completely ageless. It's one of those tobaccos that I think a young thruster can wear, and certainly, sort of an old fart like me can certainly wear this. And I'm going to be wearing it. I'm going to just make this sample last because it's a beautiful fragrance. And there you have it. Listen, sorry, another gushy one. I do apologise, but sometimes a perfume comes along and knocks your socks off. And this one's done that to me. So hopefully you'll get to try it. And then if you do, please feed back. I'll tell you what else would be quite interesting, actually. If you are watching this, can you just leave a comment below about your favourite tobacco fragrances? Because I think it's a beautiful material to use in perfumery, and obviously there's lots and lots out there, and I want to try as many of them as I can, and many good ones anyway. So if you've got a tobacco-based fragrance that you really, really enjoy, let me know what it is, and then we can have a chat. Anyway, listen, I hope you guys are well. Thank you very much for your time, as always, and I better crack on. So we will see you on the next video. Cheers and bye.